Good morning, both of you and everybody out there.
Woo woo! We're all in the house this morning.
Happy Monday.
Yeah.
Happy
You
Monday.
tuned in to Talent Talk, and it is Monday, January 18th. This is the third episode of 2021, what we might term as season 2. I am Jurgen Robinson. With me also is
Your boy Steve.
You're not the pickle in the middle, Steve. Well, kind of, sort of, but not really.
No. You get to take that role.
I get the. And I'm Davina Clarity. So happy Monday. Happy MLK Day.
Yeah,
That's right. Happy MLK Day.
Yeah. Going to have a few words of inspiration based on a very incredible person. We also have a guest today. I know the whole reason anybody showed up today is because they know it is right about tax time right now, right? It's all beginning, and you have questions. And lucky you, we have answers because we have an expert today to help out, right?
We do. I'm excited. It's just that time of the year. Be able to find those little nuggets where we could save a little bit of money during tax season. So I'm excited for our guest that's coming on.
Yeah, some people are excited about tax season because they typically are always getting their tax refund and they're looking for that extra. And then some people are dreading this time of year because they usually are owing money. So there's definitely two sides of the whatever, two sides of the road, right? Two sides of the fence. But hopefully with some education and some tips, then we can maybe level that out and at least not be as afraid when it comes to filing taxes. So
yeah, there's a little bit of time right now to get prepared, right?
It is. So what is the deadline for taxes?
Well, why don't we ask our expert in a moment? Actually, before we get there, we do have a trivia question, and it is related to the topic of the day. So now, Steve, would you like to read this, or would you like me to overemphasize everything inside of this question?
I find it entertaining when you overemphasize everything in these questions.
Okay. Perfect, Steve. Today's trivia question is, 2020 was the rise of the home office. You're ready to maximize your tax deductions to write off your home office. What IRS publication do you want to reference for guidance? Is it IRS publication 247, IRS publication 409, IRS publication 587, or IRS publication 642? What do y'all think?
Why do I feel like the only person that would know this answer would be like a tax accountant?
You would hope that would be the case.
Right.
All right. Well, you know what? We do have, and without further ado, Davina, do you want to handle a quick intro?
Absolutely. We have the honor of introducing or bringing on our friend. He's really been a great support to us over the last years, and he comes to us excited about. We asked him to come on and share some things, and he's like, "I got my tips." He shared with us some of the tips already, so we're excited for him to go over some of the tax tips for small businesses. So this is going to be awesome. I don't think we've ever done this before. He is owner of a CPA and accounting company called Cairn Accounting. And let's bring on our friend, Andrew Brady.
Yes, our friend, soon to be your friend.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
So, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm doing
You
good.
said you were going to sing when you came on. What happened with
I
that?
was going to sing.
Sing.
No.
What happened to the song? I'm just
No.
kidding.
I consider myself an expert for accountants.
Oh.
That means I can look at somebody else's shoes while I'm talking to them instead of my own.
I wasn't sure if it was you were going to sing or you were going to do a TikTok dance. So
I've watched a TikTok dance before.
Okay.
Does that count?
Yeah. I'm trying to think in my mind what music we're going to play for your TikTok dance, and make sure you know the steps.
I'm already worried.
All right.
I think I'm already blushing up a little bit here.
Let's just start with the whoa.
Andrew, you can't fool him with the tie. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we know a lot of us are celebrating holiday and not even working today. So you're like, nope, not a day off for me. I'm in this. I'm working. So we just appreciate your coming on this early morning. So gosh, we are in the midst. Well, this is really the turn of the year is where we all start getting ready for taxes, and we're waiting for our W-2s,
right?
and all those things. Yeah. So you're going to share some top things as business owners, and want to also just mention that when we say business owners, independent contractors, all of everyone that is not W-2, like when you say, and as before you go into the top 10, who is this message really for today?
Yeah, anybody that is 1099 for what they do, real estate agents, all the way up to small corporations, right? Small businesses. This is a list of often missed expenses that we can deduct that we've already spent. And those are the best types of tax deductions we can take, right? Because we've already spent that money. It's gone. We might as well not pay taxes on that already as earned income, right? Hopping right into that list,
Oh, wait, before you do that.
Sorry, stop. Whoa.
There's only one thing, because there was a question we teased just before coming in here, which was, we just got through the year 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you knew this, but there was a pandemic last year. It actually is still continuing. Yes, believe it or not.
I was one of those that didn't feel too much of an effect because I like to isolate myself already.
Yeah, there was a global pandemic. I mean, and it caused some disruptions. And last year there was the filing date got moved back, and that happened again. It continued to this year, right? Or not last year to this year, but what's the filing date this year?
We can't even e-file until February 12th. So typically right about the 20th or so, for those that are super prepared, they can start e-filing their tax returns. Tax returns will still be due April 15th from what we expect so far.
Okay.
The IRS still has the ability to push that date out, and they've already pushed out the date that they'll start accepting e-files. They're saying because of the stimulus checks that they're sending out right now, they're pushing that date back already, right? So it is very possible that we may see something pushed back already for that as well.
So if you want to file taxes, you can't even file them till the 20th of February. E-file.
12th.
Or the 12th.
The 12th.
Okay.
Yeah. Typically, if you had everything ready and you were on top of it, end of January, you could turn it in. A lot of employees like to do that, especially if they expect a return, right? A lot of business owners like to prepare their tax returns and hang on to them until the last moment because we have to owe a little bit. But the IRS just won't even open up e-file until February this year. So it's a little bit delayed already.
All right. So as we get into your top 10, now is your warning out in Facebook land, Instagram land, whatever land you happen to reside in right now and listening to this. Get your pencils out, get your paper ready, because you're going to give tips, and now is the time to get prepared to make your filing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
First thing to consider is rent and utilities. A lot of small operators, individual people will rent a desk for $100 a month at a co-working space, or they'll pay a little bit of utilities and desk to have a desk at an office, even if they don't even go into that office, right? Make sure you catch that in your tax expenses. Sometimes those are even withheld from the checks as a net check that you're receiving. So make sure that your 1099, if they're grossing that up, make sure you deduct that off of your expenses. Number 2, because it is COVID year, the home office, right? Make sure you have your home office if you have an isolated space. IRS has a publication, 587, that you'll want to look at, but that describes exactly what you can do. And typically it's a percentage of your house that office is. So if you have a 10 by 10 office, to make the math really easy for me, that's a 100 square foot office. You have a 1,000 square foot home. That's 10% that you can write off of expenses that affect your home: utilities, maintenance, mortgage interest, property tax. All those items that you've already paid, we can start writing off as business expenses, right? Another thing I see that people miss, so this would be 3.
Oh wait, let's go back to the home office real quick. What about, what about for people that maybe don't have an office, but they're working from home? So maybe they're working in a shared space. Would they have to have a dedicated office?
Have a dedicated space. So a lot of people have like their desk set up in their living room, right? And sometimes you can see their kids running around in their background. Unfortunately, that doesn't qualify. And that's why I refer people to that publication specifically, because there are qualifications that we have to meet to make that happen. But once you do, it opens up a whole bunch of different options for us. All right.
That's good. So rent and utilities, home office is number 2.
Yep. Number 3, advertising expense. A lot of people think advertising expenses is banners, billboards, radio ad, that type of thing. But it also counts as Facebook ads, LinkedIn, right? Some people pay for these subscriptions because that's their professional demeanor and what they want to put out there as their brand. And they miss out on those because, oh, I already pay for that, right? But that's part of your business brand that you're putting out there. Make sure you're branding yourself right, and that's an expense for you. Another one along those same lines, insurance. Specifically, like
real quick on the branding.
Yeah.
You mentioned websites, and that also some people are just looking for even like a logo or anything associated with your brand, essentially, that you've paid money for.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you have your own monogram logo that you put out there, and this is who you are, you're running that business, that is an advertising expense. Yeah.
And some people will put on their vehicle, they'll put some kind of branding on their vehicle that they're driving around. How does that work in terms of being able to write off either a level of that expense or like
That's exactly what they're trying to do, right? Is they're trying to rent themselves a piece of their vehicle for the advertising expense. There's a lot cleaner ways to do that nowadays. Track your business mileage, right? A lot of people know that one, so it doesn't even hit this list. Track your business mileage on your vehicle. And really, as we get into this list, I would suggest opening or electing to be taxed as an S Corp for yourself. And then you can rent your vehicle, right? That I feel like that's a better avenue, because if you're renting yourself advertising space, you're eventually going to have to pay yourself income on advertising expenses now, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't help that much. There's a few other better things we can do with that, right?
Okay, good.
But along those lines, insurance, liability insurance, right? Commercial insurance. If you need it for your business, it counts, right?
Okay. So if you're saying you need a car for your business and you have car insurance, that then becomes a deductible item?
You should deduct the portion of that insurance that is directly related to the business, right? So that's why it's very important to track your mileage for personal use, commuting use, and business use, because those give us percentages. And I have people walk into my office all the time. They're like, I don't know. And it's like, here's a log, track it, right? And there's thousands of apps nowadays that do a better job.
But Andrew, I'm on 24 hours, 7 days a week, aren't I?
That's what everybody will tell. Yeah. No, those percentages are key for that exact reason, right? Because we can, if we have 15% of this vehicle is business, 15% of that vehicle insurance becomes a business expense and write-off for us. Yep.
That's good. And that also applies into even like a level of home insurance, I would assume then, for the that deduction on.
Yep.
For your home office.
Exactly. And then any liability insurance or errors and omissions that you have to have yourself as well.
What about for the airplane that we have to?
My seat takes up 1/287th of that whole plane. So
the helicopter and no.
If we're at that level, we're probably past this list.
So that was number 4, insurance. Number 5 is
5, professional and legal fees, right? Not everybody has to go out and hire a CPA all year long to have bookkeeping and financials done. But make sure you write off the amount that you paid your bookkeeper or your tax accountant, right? If you got any legal fees done or you paid a realtor for a business transaction, right? Make sure you write those fees off. Next, retirement plans. And this is going to get into that S Corp election piece that I was talking about. If you can incorporate yourself and file a form with the IRS 2553 that says, I want to be taxed as a corporation. And it seems like something a little scary to do. You have to file 2 tax returns now, right? You're going to get your business tax return and your personal tax return. But it opens up doors to write off other things like retirement plans. Now your corporation can have a retirement plan. So you don't just have to be able to put in your minimum IRA contributions. You can open up something like a SEP IRA, a simple IRA, or even a 401k for yourself. And as you contribute to those, the company portions of that are now tax deductible.
Yeah. Now that sounds, when you mention it, I think in a lot of cases, and this is stepping off the path for just a moment, LLCs are pretty popular because they're a little more simplified and they have that feeling of pass through with some veil of protection for corporations. With assistance, is an S Corp really a viable option for a lot of people? Or
an LLC can have an S Corp election on it. That is just how you want to be taxed with the IRS.
Okay.
It doesn't even have to. It doesn't have to be, Business New Inc. Right? Because it's a corporation now. No, it can be your personal LLC that you run, and you've just put in an S election with the IRS.
Okay.
That form just tells the IRS, I want to be taxed this way for this business, and it separates it from you a little bit more.
Okay, that would be an interesting topic for another time, but definitely, if you're considering that, you should talk to your accountant about that, because
now I'd go back to the professional fee, right? Find somebody for that. Yeah.
And don't forget, we're talking to Andrew Brady from Cairn Accounting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was number 6. Number 7.
The next step beyond that, health insurance premiums, right? If you're self-employed and you've elected to be an S Corp, now that business can pay part of your health insurance premiums, right? That's now something that we all have to have.
And Dave, this might be after we get through number 7. We'll take David's question.
Yeah, I missed that.
We'll flip it up in just a moment. After you finish health insurance, take a moment and then we'll address that.
Really, health insurance falls under that same retirement plan category, right? If we can say that the business provides the employees, even if you're the only employee, health insurance, great. Now we can write that off as a business expense. So it's something that we are already paying for, and now we're writing it off as a business expense, right?
Yeah. And Donna's in the back, and she's helping get the questions up. Donna, are you able to flip that one up again? And any answer you give is certainly just based on the broad question, but anybody to do something would require more consultation than a quick answer like this, right?
Yeah. Flips or rentals should be done in an LLC.
Okay.
Yeah. You can have a property management company set up as your S corp, but all your little properties that you own should probably be held up into an LLC.
Okay. And
that gives you the option to live in that home if you have to, right? And it becomes your primary residence. And we can take advantage of that primary residence thing instead of saying, oh, this is trapped up in this corporation, right? Getting properties out of a corporation is always selling the property, even if we're transferring the property to ourselves.
Okay.
And then we have to go get a valuation and say, this is the current valuation of that property and sell it to ourselves, right? That could cause taxation events or taxable events.
Nice. So
That's
the
why I
question
say-
was, is S corp better if investment in flips or rentals? So interesting.
Yeah, I would hold it in a personal LLC.
Okay.
I would use a S corp maybe to manage those rentals or flips, but I would keep the individual properties in LLCs that were tied directly to me, so they would be Schedule E on your personal tax return.
Nice.
Okay.
Hey, you had a good answer.
Oh, thanks. I do help a couple people that do exactly that, and that's how we structure that.
All right. So
And
number 7 was health
Good
insurance. So number 8.
8. Another obscure one that we get into is bad debts. If you did like a microloan to one of your employees, one of your vendors, and now you're not going to see that money back, write it off, right? This happens a lot and people forget about it, right? Oh, I loaned so-and-so $100 and they were going to do some work for me and they never did. That's a bad debt, right? Write that off. Make sure you catch all your office tools and supplies, right? I know people will steal their pens and pencils from their kids that they bought from back to school time, right? Because it's all there now. They're at home office and they're like, oh, Johnny, give me that pen, right? Make sure you find those expenses that were for your business and write those off. It could be stamps, pens, pencils, paper, the printer you had to buy, right? A lot of people forget that type of thing. It comes up.
So if you give somebody a stamp, make sure you you write off that. What does a stamp cost now? 46 cents, 50 cents,
50 or 55 now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but exactly. If that's a business expense, make sure you're writing it off. And that's the type of thing that people will miss, right?
That's
Lastly, I would say
I got a quick question, real quick,
Yeah.
just for clarification on that one. So if you write ABC Company a check, or you pay ABC Company to do some work, okay, and they don't do any of the work. Now, understanding that would have been a business expense anyway for, say it was $500, but then if they don't do the work, is that called a bad debt, or is it only specifically for a loan, someone loaning money? I mean,
it'd be more for people loaning money, right? If I had paid an advertising company $500 and they never delivered the advertisement for me, I'd probably still write that off as an advertisement expense.
Okay.
I'd probably make sure I sent them a 1099 as well, just to make sure that they know they got that money, right? But as far as bad debts go, this is usually little loans that we handed out to somebody, right? Here's $200, and then they were going to do some work to earn it back, or they were going to pay me back and never did, right?
Okay.
That's related to the business. Let's make sure we write that off as a bad debt. Yeah.
nice.
And my final one, the wages and salaries. Right?
Oh wait,
Office supplies.
number 9.
Office supplies. Yeah, depends. If we're taking pens from the kids,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah. If we're taking off our,
I'll
I
only
know
take
people load up during back to school time, right? Because I do as well. It's like, oh, I need all these pens for the whole year. And then I have a whole drawer full of them, right? Make sure you.
Does
Sorry?
that include computers and stuff like that? Office supplies, printers, computers.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you needed it for your office at home and it's a direct relation to that office, let's write it off 100% instead of using the home office expense, right? Yeah. And my final one is wages and salaries. People a lot of the time think, oh, that's for big companies that have lots of employees. That S corp election, make yourself an employee, right? You're going to pay self-employment tax on your tax return. That already makes you an employee. That's why they call it self-employment tax, right? So if we do that S election or a partnership or something, and we start paying you a wage, we start writing off as an expense a portion of that wage that we're paying. So the payroll taxes, we get a write-off now, right? So we get to reduce what we have to pay on taxes, and we still pay the taxes that we have to.
Nice. 10 good reasons or 10 good observations of areas that people miss on their tax deductions. Which one do you think, and I don't know if you felt this was really a ranking from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1, but which one do you think people or businesses tend to miss most often, or by realizing it would make the biggest impact in their tax filing?
Most often is probably advertising or office supplies. The biggest impact, I'm going to say wages and salaries.
Oh, why do you say that?
If, in a quick example, if I'm a self-employed individual that makes $100,000, I'm now going to pay 12.5% self-employment tax on that $100,000. If I elect to be an S corp, now I can pull some of that as a dividend and some of it as payroll tax. I'm still going to pay that 12.5% as a company and myself on that payroll tax portion, but I'm going to save that 12.5% on the dividends portion that I'm pulling from the business. And there's clauses in the IRS that make us have to pay a reasonable wage, right? So we can't just say, oh, I made $1 and that's it. I don't have to pay any taxes. But we come up with that reasonable wage amount and pay taxes on that amount. And then we can pull the rest as an owner dividend, essentially. And saving 12% off the top is a good chunk of money to save.
Very nice.
Well, gosh, yes, definitely a lot to chew on here, but that's why you need to have a CPA or someone that can guide you through the process and the questions on, how should I structure my business? What type of deductions am I missing on my tax return? Because you can even look at previous tax returns and say, hey, you missed this, you missed this. Can people file for the previous year because they've really screwed up their taxes trying to do it themselves and have missed a ton of deductions?
Yep. You file a 1040 every year. That's your personal tax return. There's a 1040X that allows us to refile for prior years, right? There's a limitation on how far back we can go, but absolutely, we can definitely go back a couple of years at least for you if there's something that we missed that is important, right? That home office on every year, that mortgage interest can really add up, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's definitely worth going back and doing those.
Andrew, do you help?
Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I just wonder, one of the services we talked about, LLCs and S corps, is that a service that you offer helping folks set that up, or?
Yes, it's definitely something I can help set up. It's a little bit cheaper with the state if you just do it yourself, but it's like a hamburger, right? Sometimes you pay a little bit extra to get a nice hamburger all prepared and done for you, because then you don't have to worry about it. You can usually go to the superstore or buy all the things and put it together, right? Sometimes it's just nice to have it prepared for you and ready to go. Absolutely could help out.
Okay.
That may be the first time I've heard that analogy used for that.
Right.
Maybe I'm getting
love
hungry
the
already.
hamburger
I know it's early, but
Yeah, I'm hungry. It's breakfast time, so I need an egg on
yeah.
my hamburger.
That actually sounds pretty good. I got some ground beef in the refrigerator. I'll be right back.
And we're just wrapping up with Andrew Brady from Cairn Accounting. And if you have a quick question, you certainly can put it in there. Otherwise, Andrew, it's actually been really enjoyable just having conversation and talking through. And I think we all learned at least a little something or got a heightened awareness so that we can pay attention to some of those things that are important.
Yeah.
Thanks,
If anyone, there were a couple questions out there, and if anyone does have a question or two or just needs clarification, how do they get in contact with you?
Email is probably the very best way. Andrew at cairnaccounting.com, right? You can look us up online. Our head office is Meridian in Puyallup. That's usually the best way to find us. It seems like Google Locals the only thing that helps people find me.
So email's the best, Andrew at cairnaccounting.com.
Yeah, and it's Cairn like the stack of rocks, not the girl, right? Cain.
Yeah.
I get a lot of confusion there, I guess.
Yeah. You're not having to ask to see the manager.
Sorry?
Oh, I was playing on Cairn there. We don't have to ask to see the manager or anything like that.
Yeah. No.
Aw.
All right.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Andrew.
Always a pleasure.
It is definitely, and we're going to have you back again and talk about some other more specifics before tax season is over. And we do have a trivia question as well. I believe you probably know the answer to this one, Andrew. What is the question?
2020 was the rise of the home office. You're ready to maximize your tax deductions to write off your home office. What IRS publication do you want to reference for guidance? Your selections were 247, 409, 587, and 642. During the time, Andrew, you actually gave the answer. What was that answer again?
587.
The business use of your home publication.
Definitely check them out. Thank you.
Oh, and Bonnie says, great video. Thanks for the info.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. And we will see you next go round. Say bye, Andrew.
Bye, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
I really wanted Andrew to say bye, Andrew himself. Bye to himself.
Maybe he did on the inside, right?
Okay.
I saw his lips move.
That sounds like me. My lips are always moving, right?
But you ain't saying nothing. No, I'm just playing.
All right. Well, Steve, before we go, I mean, we want to end with a couple things based on what today is and a little bit of inspiration. But before we do that, we have a couple of updates. Is that right?
We do. So this week for our talent, our John L. Scott Talent Brokers, we have our business meeting at 9 to 10. Tune in. We got some great stuff. We always got some new tools that are coming your way and go dropping little nuggets here and there. Also, this Friday, we have our Forms Friday, our weekly forms class. And this coming week, it's at 9 a.m. And we are going to be covering the purchase and sale agreement. So this is a two-part class. We'll be covering, doing the first part this week at 9 a.m. We also have Friday Talent Report and Market Update with Jurgen and Davina. So they will be going over new listings coming on the market, what's going on in Thurston, Pierce, and surrounding counties, and just giving you like the lowdown of what's the real estate and what's happening. We also have our Facebook Friday, where if you tune into our Facebook page, we bring in a expert somewhere in the field of real estate and related to it, where they're talking about things that affect us, affect what's going on in real estate. Yeah. So tune in Friday to that. And then next week, for those of you who may be thinking about getting in real estate, maybe getting a real estate license, we have a career night, and we will go over kind of like a glimpse of what it takes to get into real estate, what it takes to get a real estate license, how to get your real estate license, and the costs associated with getting that license. So lots of good stuff coming your way. Stay tuned. Check us out on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and hinted at this, and thank you, Steve. That's good. And there's always something going on. And career night, I think, is phenomenal. If you have any questions about what it would be like to be in real estate and if it might be a very good decision for you, at the very least, you're going to get informed about the process and what goes on. So nothing but good stuff there. But today, a lot of people are off, and hopefully they're using it in a good way to connect and also to think about things, because today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, right?
Yep, absolutely. So today we actually celebrate his birthday. And so there's activities that are going on today as well. And we did put them out on Friday, but the city of Tacoma is hosting a celebration and a memorial this evening on their public television station. So there's, not a lot of live things that are happening. There's a lot of virtual things that are happening. So just make a point to, if you are interested in seeing what's going on, just make a point to take a look up and see. There's a lot of different events that are happening around the area that you can virtually tune into for Martin Luther King celebrations.
Yeah. And this year, based on a lot of what's occurred, feels like it's a very good day to reflect a bit and really just get in tune with what's happening and really being aware of others around us as well, even within our own households or outside in our spheres, or just about us, right?
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Martin Luther King was basically just, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I had even listened to his I Have a Dream speech and a couple other speeches, just to kind of say, okay, just to remember kind of the things that he really stood for. But he was a minister, so he had a ton of quotes that were pulled from over the years. And it's like when you think about all of the things and all of the areas that he really was passionate about, it's almost like life lessons that he speaks about in a lot of his quotes. And I know that we have a couple of quotes that we're going to end today with, just in memorial and celebration of who he is, and some really good ones that are just things that we should probably think about every single day, right? So,
absolutely. I'll start with one, because it's one that I always I try to think about, because when things are going easy, it feels very simple for somebody to have an opinion or to talk about things, but things do change. So the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. And it feels like that's something we're going through with some conversations right now. I mean, it's very easy for us to speak what feels acceptable in normal, to talk about it, but it's a lot harder to do it when it matters. So being able to measure like that, as opposed to when it's simple and easy. And then let's see, Steve, you had one too, right?
I did. I caught this one, and I just, for what's going on and everything, just kind of thinking about everything that's going on, it just kind of hit the spot, And the quote is we may have all come in different ships, but we're in the same boat now, so it doesn't matter where you're from. We're all in this together, and that just kind of when my bit of a mindset when I'm thinking about stuff, and, we're in this together. We're in the same boat now. So it just kind of rung a bell when I was going through, some Martin Luther King quotes.
Yeah. Daviana, you have one that's special to you too, right?
I do, and it's one that when I think about some of the quotes, one that I tend to think about quite often, and it actually is one about taking a step. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. And oh my gosh, in life is that so hard. Whether it's now, just with all of the things that are going on, and you feel like, okay, what do I do? What do I say? Where do I go? And just a lot of people, just in life, when you've got hard decisions to make or things that are coming at you, it's easy to become paralyzed, not knowing what to do. But just having faith and just saying, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, but I'm just going to take a step, and not knowing how far up, how long the staircase is, if it's going to have curve or if it's straight up or whatnot, it doesn't matter. Just take the first step. And I just love that. Love that quote.
And then the next step. Yeah. And then the next step.
And eventually.
Yeah. And here's one just kind of to end on. It feels really appropriate right now. There's a lot of rhetoric all around us, and there's a lot of tit for tat, or somebody did something, so I need to respond. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And just remembering around us, we have all around us our brothers, our sisters. They're, even when we feel offense, even though our instinct may be to respond with offense, if we respond with love, we will always move a lot further. I was starting to say something that was like, when somebody does something, we want to respond in kind. But I was thinking about it, and as I said it one time, I was like, yeah, we should respond in like kindness instead. Don't take that and amplify it back, the same feeling back, because that only escalates everything. It's that echo chamber that just continues to move, make the pressure rise. The way to de-escalate it and make progress is with love.
Yeah. There was another quote I believe Martin Luther King had that when it reminds me of this quote, and it's about our imperfection. He says like something to the effect of like, we're all cracked. That's how the light gets in. So I actually like that one too. So
many would say I'm quite cracked.
Yeah. Well, that's for another show, Jurgen. We'll have another guest for that one as well.
Yes. And they're just going to say, would you please lay down and just talk about your earliest memory?
So, all right. So I guess it's that time. It's right at the top of the hour, 9:00. And we are going to, it's time for us to say goodbye. And we will see you later on this week on Friday, and then back for another Talent Talk next Monday. So you guys all enjoy this holiday off, and just remember faith, love, hope.
Be kind, love one another.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So who wants to count us out?
Steve, you want to take us out with a big count?
All right, you guys.
Not a big count like to 100. Like still, let's keep it at 3 or something.
Keep it at 3, but we'll do it big. We'll keep it 3, but we'll do it big. All right, you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll do this again next week. We'll see you then. All right, you guys. 1, 2, 3. Be bold.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.